Welcome to Understanding Human Anatomy and the continuing discussion of the perineum, and in particular the female urogenital triangle. Now, I want to start by doing a coronal section that will pass through the vagina and, of course, through the obturator foramina. So I'm going to start by drawing in the skeletal elements, the superior pubic rami, and then the other side of the obturator foramen, the inferior pubic rami or ischiopubic rami, depending on how far we move. The other structure I want to sketch in is the vagina. Here. And we'll sketch in a little bit of the cervix. Here, and we'll cut off the rest of the cervix, and let me connect up the vaginal walls to the cervix like so and like so. And just to make things a little bit easier to see, I'm going to color in the cervix of the uterus so that the structure in the center is the vagina. And let me sketch in the obturator membrane. Here. And here. And we'll need to then add muscle to our diagram. And we'll start with the obturator internus muscle, taking origin from the obturator membrane and the associated pubic and ischiopubic rami. Put that on each side. And we will have a layer of fascia covering the obturator internus muscle. The obturator internus fascia. Like so. And then we need to sketch in the pelvic diaphragm. On each side. And of course, it has fascia around it. The internal fascia of the pelvic diaphragm and the external fascia of the pelvic diaphragm. So here we go, the internal fascia of the pelvic diaphragm and the external fascia of the pelvic diaphragm. And again, before we get too far carried away here, Let's put in some labels. The obturator Internus muscle, and the obturator Internus fascia. The pelvic diaphragm, and that is made up of levator ani, and coccygeus, muscles, and we'll draw a line to it. And we have the internal fascia of the pelvic diaphragm, and again we'll draw a line to that layer of fascia. And then we have the external fascia of the pelvic diaphragm, and we'll draw a short line to it. Then we have another layer of muscle, and this layer is the urogenital diaphragm. label it. And that is composed of 3 muscles. The sphincter, urethrae, the deep transverse, perineus, muscle, and the superficial. Transverse. Perineus muscle. And we'll draw a line to it. And remember that it also is covered with a layer of fascia. The internal fascia of the urogenital diaphragm and the external fascia of the urogenital diaphragm. I'll sketch the layer of fascia in on the other side here, like so. And so we have the internal fascia of the urogenital diaphragm, and we'll draw a line to it. And then we have the external fascia of the urogenital diaphragm. Now, remember that there's a space in here that is greatly exaggerated in this diagram. This space, which I'll just identify with a cross or star, on each side. This space is continuous with the ischiorectal fossa and is just filled with fat. Now, we have to draw in the female erectile bodies, and we'll start with the bulbs. I'm drawing in yellow, which I'm drawing in yellow. And remember that the bulb is contained within the labia minora. And then we have the cura, that serve to anchor the corpus cavernosum, and it is tightly applied to the ischiopubic ramus. And so we'll put labels in for these structures. And for the bulb, I'm going to draw the name in the middle so that I can draw lines to each side. And then I'll have the cura here. There's one, the other one on the other side. I won't label them both. Then we have muscle surrounding the erectile tissue. And we have a bulbal spongiosus muscle surrounding each of the bulbs. So there are two bulbal spongiosus muscles in the female. Bulbal spongiosus, and I'll connect a line to that label. And then surrounding each of the cura, we have an ischiocavernosus muscle. There's one, there's the other one. We'll draw a label to it. And again, these muscles are paired, one on each side, but I'm only labeling one of them. Then we have investing fascia, which surrounds each of these muscles. So I'm drawing it in around one ischiocavernosus, one bulbal spongiosus, the other bulbal spongiosus muscle, and the other ischiocavernosus muscle. And this is the investing fascia, and again I'm going to label this on one side only, but I'll draw a label, draw a line to the fascia around the ischiocavernosus and around the bulbal spongiosus muscles. Finally, there is a layer of fascia that closes off the whole area right up to the vaginal opening. And that is the fascia of the perineum. And the fascia of the perineum is Colles fascia. And I've drawn that in blue. And Colles fascia is a superficial fascia, but again, as we said in the discussion of the male, it is a very dense, irregular connective tissue fascia. Unlike typical superficial fascia, which is loose and is full of fat, Colles fascia is very dense connective tissue proper. I need to add the parietal peritoneum, which comes down like so, goes over the top of the uterus and vagina, and then on down. So all these structures are retroperitoneal. So that is the peritoneum. So that will conclude our discussion of the coronal section through the female urogenital triangle. In the next video, we'll look at a sagittal section through the female. Thank you for your attention.